So, Wilbur's back. Shit. Hey there, oddballs! Just letting you know that today's video might be a little triggering for those sensitive to topics relating to domestic abuse, manipulation, eating disorders, and online harassment. If any of that makes you uncomfortable, please make sure to take care of yourselves, as the comfort of my viewers is way more important to me than YouTube analytics. So with that being said, let's dive into it! Hello, my creeps and freaks, and welcome to the... I'm your host, Scenebean, and guess what? The Brighton Biter is back.
I'm back.
Which seems to have torn a massive rift in the internet, as some are ecstatic that he has returned, while others are cursing the heavens that the vampiric demon spawn has made his way back onto the internet. I myself am rather split on the situation, but I do know this: he's come back way too early, and any chance of him saving what remains of his once lustrous career is slowly withering away. But before we get into that, if you haven't done so, please consider subscribing and smashing that like button if you want to see more videos like this in the future. I upload new videos once every 2 weeks, and if you want to get a shout out in a future video, comment below any topics you want to discuss in a future Scenebean, or join the Discord server to get updated on new topics, or to engage with me live about more online chaos. Link is in the description for the Discord server. Now, my dear beans, I offer you a choice. You can take the blue bean and go watch my video covering the Wilbur situation up to this point, or you can take the red bean and stick around for a crappy 60-second recap. The fate of literally nothing rests in the palm of your hands, my dear viewers. What you choose, I will leave up to you. Still here? Alright then, let's recap. So, Twitch streamer Wilbur was accused of abusing his ex-girlfriend and fellow Twitch streamer Shovel after the latter went live to talk about her previous partner, who had abused and mistreated her by constantly biting to the point of bruising and physical harm. This was later confirmed as true by Wilbur in an apology he published on Twitter a few days later. This apology, however, was incredibly disrespectful and undermined his actions, focusing on how much he had changed rather than what he had actually done to Shovel. The internet became incredibly divided on the issue, with accusations being thrown left and right at both parties, but after the apology, Wilbur went completely radio silent and disappeared off the face of the internet. And that was the end of it. That is, until a few days ago.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
I'm back.
I can see that.
From my break.
Good for you. Glad you saw this as a break.
I just want to make this quick video to briefly talk about what the four of us at Lovejoy have planned for the rest of this year.
That's really not what you should be talking about right now, Will.
But first, I wanted to mention some stuff was said about me on the internet a couple of months ago.
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead. We're all ears. We have been for 5 months. So you have the floor, Mr. Soot.
And if you haven't already seen, I responded back in February.
Oh, we saw.
That response is all I want to say on the matter for now.
Good one, Wilbur. Oh wait, you're being serious. You wanna just leave it on that note. That note you posted on Twitter that made your friends and basically the entire internet turn on you. All right.
And yeah, I'd much rather talk about what the plan is for us going forward.
I'm sure you would, Wilbur. I'm sure you would.
So going into summer, we're going to be doing a tour of Australia.
Don't do that.
So if you live in Australia and you want to see Lovejoy play live,
I don't think many people are going to get love or joy from you promoting your band with everything that's going on right now. Honestly, it's coming across really shallow.
we really hope to see you there.
Seems like majority are hoping to not see you ever again.
In a couple of months, we'll be releasing our new single, I'll Look Good
You don't look good. In fact, this update video is just making you look worse.
When I'm Sober,
Okay.
which we've been working on for ages now,
You probably should have been working on becoming a better person instead of that single, but alright.
and we're really excited for you to hear it.
We're not excited, Wilbur.
And, of course, we're very excited to get back into the studio,
I think we'd rather you get back into therapy, Wilbur.
writing
Like when you wrote that apology?
and recording,
Like when you recorded this video?
and we'll show you what we've got when we've got it.
I think we've all seen enough.
But yeah, I hope you're all well,
We're not, and neither is Shovel.
and I'll see you soon.
And as you can imagine, the internet gave Wilbur quite the response to this post. With more back and forth comment section screaming matches than you'll find at an American politics convention, people were angry, upset, excited, confused, and Twitter immediately erupted into a sea of toxicity and differing opinions, with some tweeting out their excitement that Wilbur had returned, while others raved about the rage coursing through their veins upon seeing his face once again. Everything is a total mess, and I highly suggest that you don't make any opinions public right now if you aren't prepared to face some serious backlash. Things are really unstable and very sensitive at the moment, so be careful when doing research or making posts about this. With that out of the way, however, there is one thing I want to cover about this post Wilbur made, and this is something that a lot of people have already been talking about, and in my opinion, it's really important to mention, because in this video, Wilbur looks really, malnourished, to say the least. His face and neck look incredibly bony, and his eyes look glazed and sunken in on himself. His shirt is loose-fitting, and his skin looks much paler, and his hair is thinning too. Not only that, but when looking closely at his mouth when he talks, his teeth immediately stand out as appearing rather off. They appear to be yellow, and they're showing signs of erosion and acid damage, and his lips are also really swollen and puffy too. These specific factors in Wilbur's appearance, especially when looking at a before and after, are incredibly concerning to me because they are all physical signs that someone is suffering from an eating disorder, such as anorexia or bulimia. Now, I am not one to be hyper aware of one's physical characteristics or to self-diagnose, and I'm not trying to pull a pity card here either. It's true that people often change over time, but it's highly unlikely that someone would naturally change that much and that drastically within 5 months. Not only that, but the possibility of Wilbur having an eating disorder isn't even that far-fetched, as it has been speculated that he may have had one at some points in his life due to some comments he and his friends had made in the past.
Oh, please just order Pizza Hut.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I've already had 1,000 calories today. I can't have more.
I thought you can have
Just
2,500 a
How tall is Wilbur Soot? He stands at a height of 6'5" and weighs about 58 kilograms. I wish.
Guntan, are you eating properly?
We need to purge through orgasming.
I do purge quite a lot, yeah.
Evidence of this potentially being true can even be found in some of his song lyrics, like Normal People Things, or Around the Pomegranate, or It's All Futile, It's All Pointless. And because Wilbur didn't take good care of himself very well, as also confirmed by Shovel, again, it's not that big of a stretch to say that he may have some issues with proper food intake. Now, I want to make it very clear that this is all speculation, and none of this has been directly confirmed by Wilbur. But with his mental state already being incredibly poor even before the Shovel stuff, the amount of hate and stress most certainly would have worsened his already fragile mentality. Forced starvation can be caused by factors other than bodily dissatisfaction or social pressure. They can also come from feelings like intense guilt or a desire to punish, with the mindset being atoned to the thought of, I don't deserve to eat. And that's something I understand quite a lot. Again, I'm not trying to defend Wilbur's actions by pulling the sympathy card. There is no justifying what he has done to Shovel or to the others he has affected, but such drastic bodily changes, like the ones Wilbur is experiencing, don't come from natural causes. And even when they do, they don't happen in 5 months. And even though there's no guarantee on whether or not Wilbur has developed an eating disorder, or that he may have had one in the past, it's still very obvious that this whole situation has caused him a lot more grief and stress than he is letting on. But this is not the reason I'm bringing this up. No, not at all. I am including this information because people are literally making fun of the idea that this man may have developed an eating disorder, and they are stating that they are thrilled to see him looking malnourished and like he hasn't eaten in days. No matter how awful a person is or what types of things they have done in their life, nothing ever makes behavior like that okay. And this is why I'm including this all in my video. There is and never will be a valid reason, excuse, or situation in which you can make fun of someone for having an eating disorder, be happy that someone is developing one, or to wish one upon someone. And if you are someone who is thinking that that is okay in any way, shape, or form, then keep it to yourself, because words like that can spread serious harm and will affect the lives of real people in ways you could never even imagine. Moving on from that little rant, Wilbur's Instagram update isn't the only new information we have on the subject. With the return of Wilbur, new information from Shovel was shared on a live stream where she addressed and gave her thoughts on his new video. And, these thoughts she ended up sharing kind of became a bit of a game changer for the internet, and I'll show you why. For one, that apology Wilbur talked about in his return video, well, she actually addressed it again in this stream, and she ended up revealing some details that put that apology into an entirely different light, and not a good one at that. The main point she addresses is the part in the apology where Wilbur says that he was under the impression that he wasn't doing anything wrong because Shovel had consented to the biting. And Shovel agreed to that. She did consent to the biting, but in her own words, she didn't consent to being hurt.
Time went on. For him to say, but I thought the biting was consensual, is implying I said different. It's implying that the situation was he was biting me and I said I didn't consent to that. That didn't happen. That's not. And there is no room for him to have misunderstood that, because I made it explicitly clear in my very original stream by saying the biting was not the problem. I did agree to it. I did consent to him biting me. I did not consent to him hurting me.
And let me just make this clear for a second, because this is something people have brought up a lot recently. Biting doesn't always equal hurting. So her saying that she consented to being bit but not being hurt is entirely valid.
Consenting to biting is not inherently consenting to being harmed, because biting can exist without harm. And that is okay. And I was okay with that. I was very, very clear about that. I was never okay with harm. I was very clear about that too.
But see, that isn't the thing to take away from this statement about Wilbur's apology. Her next statement is what really puts things into a new perspective, and here's why.
I believe there are only really 3 possible explanations. He knows that and wanted to reframe it to look better, wanted you to believe that the issue was that he was biting me and I didn't consent to it. All over the internet, all over comment sections, people going back and forth. She consented. No, she didn't. She consented. No, she didn't. Yes, I did. I did. That was never a question. That was never the issue. That isn't what it was about. And he successfully gaslit you in your face. I'm not just saying that it's right there. It's right there. Or the only third explanation I could come up with is that he just didn't even listen to my words at all. He never listened to them, because it was very at the beginning that I said, this happened in our relationship. He was biting me. It was consensual. I was okay with it as long as it didn't hurt. And that was explicitly clear.
Okay, so let's just pull up that checklist and look, everyone. All right, so gaslighting, gatekeeping, girl bossing. It's gonna have to be a no. Look at that, everybody. 2 out of the 3. But in all seriousness, what Shovel is saying here actually makes a lot of sense. The stories aren't adding up, and the reasoning she provided, unfortunately for Wilbur, does make a lot more sense than what he was saying. Sourcing the actual stream that started it all, Shovel did state that she consented to the biting, and when looking back at Wilbur's apology, that he had boldly chosen to double down on, his expression of remorse doesn't even really match with what Shovel talked about. So her statements in the VOD make sense to me. Of course he would try to twist the story around. Of course he would try to repaint the picture to put himself in a better position. That's what abusers do, and that's how they are able to get away with hurting people over and over and over again. And Shovel even states the proof of this. Wilbur never was in consistent therapy, and he only said that he was to make himself look better. And not only that, his friends literally knew about this, and they chose not to say anything about it or to cut Wilbur off out of their lives.
Because the truth is, he has not been in consistent therapy. His friends know that. He admitted openly to them that he had to start seeing a new therapist because he lied too much to his first one. And they are accepting of that. That is okay. They want him back to work. They don't think that it's important to insist he do any significant amount of therapy first. Hell, a year at minimum. It isn't important for them to stay in his life for him to change at this point.
And now, like a mosquito during the summertime, he's back. And I honestly don't know how to feel about it. For one, yeah, I'm happy to see that he's alive and that he seems to be doing semi-decent. That's all fine and dandy. That's the quality. He's a 6 feet under. Whatever. But on the other hand, I'm not happy to see he is back because it's just way too soon. Again, it has only been about 4 or 5 months since Shovel went public about her story on that first live stream. And this isn't like some, oh, blah blah creator got canceled and waited for it to blow over instance that you often find on Twitter or on YouTube or with several other creators that I could literally list off right now, but I'm not gonna do that because, This is an entirely different story. Because this time there are real confirmed victims involved. And because of that fact alone, Wilbur shouldn't have come back this soon, if at all. And he should have released a better statement than the one he posted on Twitter if he intended coming back this soon. This isn't something he can just brush under the rug, as we have seen. And he really needs to either acknowledge that and take some accountability, or he needs to go back to the shadows and stay there. The last thing he should have done in this return video is promote himself, because all that served to do was make him look incredibly selfish and apathetic and as if he didn't care about the people he had affected at all. And even if that is a true statement and he truly doesn't care about the people he has hurt, then he could have at least tried to mask it better than he did. Yet, now that Wilbur has returned from his absence, suddenly he has rebranded his Instagram page from Wilbur Soot to just Wilbur. He has removed his Twitch links and now only has links to his band website and socials, and his occupation tab now only says musician instead of streamer or influencer. Speculation is going around on whether or not Wilbur will be leaving the content creator space to focus solely on his band Lovejoy, and to me this outcome does seem highly likely. For one, most of his old content creator friends have seemingly cut ties with him, and with how angered the online space is right now, I just don't think it would be in his best interest to continue his streaming career. He needs to face the consequences of his actions, and if those consequences are him losing his online credibility and having to abandon the Wilbur Soot persona, then unfortunately, that's just how it's gonna have to be. It was already implied that Wilbur would eventually shed the CC label to move on to a more adult audience through his music career, and this situation might just have been the final straw for him. At least this way, he won't be in a space of massive influence amongst impressionable viewers, and maybe it'll be better for everyone else in the long run too. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, we don't have a say in the choices Wilbur makes. If he chooses to continue with his music career or to return to streaming, then that's his choice. If people choose to support him or send hate to Shovel, then that's their choice. And unfortunately, even if it is wrong, there isn't really anything we can do to change any of that. So here's my advice. The best thing for all of us to do, in my opinion, isn't to send hate to Wilbur or Shovel or the people who have a different view than you on Twitter. The best thing for us to do is to just let it be. Send support to Shovel in this trying time, keep Wilbur in your heart, and hope that he is able to get the help he desperately needs. And above all, maintain respect online to both parties and their communities, and be patient as we wait and see what happens next. But anyways, you guys, that was my opinion, and now I would love to hear yours. If this video has sparked some thought or disagreement, please feel free to share your thoughts and opinions with me by joining the Discord server, link in the description, or by leaving a comment on this video. If you guys have any other topics you want me to discuss, leave a comment below and you just might get a shout out in the next video. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing and giving this one a like, as it really helps me to please that sweet, sweet YouTube algorithm. But that's all I have for today's video, so thank you all so much for tuning in, and as always, Happy Pride! Happy Pride.